Hello folks, welcome back to the Italian Garden. Great to see you. So today, welcome to our tutorial on making a vertical strawberry planter. Now we are going to be using a blue barrel for this, and you'll see that in a minute. I just have it kind of out of frame. I have my tools on it right now. Some of the tools you're going to be needing to complete this project is going to be, you're going to need a tape measure, you're going to need a pen of any color, Sharpie. You're going to need a drill, not an impact driver. Typically, you want to use a drill for this, just a standard rotating drill. You're going to want a heat gun or a blowtorch. Now, I chose to go the heat gun route. Some people said the heat gun works better. Some people said that the blowtorch works better. I'm not really sure which one, but I'm going with the heat gun since we have one. It's a little bit less intense, a little bit lighter, easier on the plastic, less chance of it burning at all. And then we also have a Ryobi jigsaw, and so you can use, of course, any jigsaw, battery powered or otherwise. Mine's corded, and so you're going to want to use that jigsaw, and you're want to set it to a lot of these jigsaws will have settings. You have metal. I'm going to put it on 1, which is our plastic PVC setting. That's what we're going to use for this, and you'll see why we're using a jigsaw here in a bit when I get this thing all started up and I get all of our stuff marked out. Now let's get to the marking part. So I'll bring you in kind of close to the barrel. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay up to date on all things gardening. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to drill some holes in the bottom of this. This is just for drainage. This is a planter, not a worm tower. Now, a lot of the times people will actually make these into a worm tower. So they'll drill a large hole in the center here, and they'll put about a 4-inch pipe down the middle with large holes in it that are about roughly about 1 inch in diameter. And those holes will allow worms to come in and out of the bed, and they will eat food scraps in the center. Now, I don't do any worm farming. I might in the future, but probably independent worm farms that I use the castings just to put in my garden. I like the idea of the worm farm in these, but I have, if you see back behind me, those little fluffy butts over there, I have those guys. And they eat all of my food scraps pretty much, minus a few avocados and a couple of things that are lethal to them. You see, she's actually eating some some dandelion greens I gave her earlier right now. But they eat even my weeds, so they eat everything. They are the nature's composters. They literally eat everything that you don't want in your yard, or even in your kitchen. So I'm not going to be using worms for this, but what I will be doing is I will be taking some of the soil out every year and then re-nutrifying the soil. You typically have to do that if you're planting strawberries or anything else in here anyway, which is what this is going to be. It's going to be a strawberry planter. But if you're doing herbs or what have you in this type of setup, you don't have to plant, you don't have to necessarily keep your strawberries in there for more than 3 years, because strawberries typically get kind of woody, and they'll get a very thick kind of stem to them, and they won't produce quite as well after 3 years. So you want to use younger plants, and kind of revitalize your planter after about 3 years. Full disclaimer for this video, I'm a complete novice. All right, I've never done this before, so this is for entertainment purposes only. This isn't really a how-to, but I'm just gonna let you know that I might make a goof of myself. All right, so we're gonna drill a couple holes in here. I'm gonna go around the outside here and then a couple in the center. There's some low spots on this barrel here. I'll probably put a few on kitty corner areas as well on the outside edge. But what I'm just gonna do is just drill right down in and go every 4 to 3 inches. There we go. We're going to do some in the middle. There we are. And then we'll do a couple right here on this outer edge. There we are. Let's put all these guys down here for me to pick up later and get all swept up. As you can see, it flings the plastic shards everywhere. So I would avoid try to get them in your soil, try to pick them up, make sure they don't get buried somewhere, or for that matter, in your planter. Now the top of this is already cut off, so I don't have to worry about doing that. But you might have a barrel that the top is still on, so you might have to cut that top off. This barrel came to me with that top already removed, so I don't need to do that. But keep in mind that might be something you have to do. What I would do is I would drill a hole here on the edge with your saw, right here on this one of these edges, whether it be here, and then take that hole and take your jigsaw and run it all the way around the edge and cut that top off from there so that you can use your top of your planter as a planting area. Now what we're going to do is flip this barrel over now, and we have a barrel with plenty of drainage holes down there on the bottom and plenty of holes right around. Now what I'm seeing when I'm looking in this, I don't know if you can kind of see down there, but I'm seeing some high holes and I'm seeing some low holes. I'm kind of not liking the fact that I only have 2 low holes. And so what I might do before I go any further is put a few holes on either side of this mid ridge really quick, because you want to have your drainage be even and adequate. So we had holes here, but what I do want is holes here on either side of this ridge here, so that we end up with plenty of proper drainage. Because if you don't have enough drainage, your strawberries or whatever you're planting in it, depending if you're doing an herb barrel, your herbs or strawberries will get overflown. There we go. That looks a lot better. So we're going to do 4 inches. We're going to come down to where that mark is, and then we're going to do another planting spot there. Then we're going to come down to the other side of it and then do another one. So I'll show you that here in just a moment. Why don't we get our first hole put in? So we're going to do 4-inch there and there. That's going to be a planting spot here. And then we're going to come down. I think I'm going to give about relative spacing about 6 inches between. That's typically the spacing of strawberries, is you want at least 6 inches between the plants so that they have adequate growth areas. So that's going to be where that goes. And then we're going to measure out from there. We're going to measure out 4 inches on the other side. So what you can see here that we have strawberry planter here. Strawberries are going in right here is where we're going to put some. That's going to be a cut. And I'm going to make that straight with a level here. Then we're going to put one in right here too. So that's just kind of a roughed in. You can see how it staggers. So you got a planting area here, you're going to have a planting area here, and you're going to have a planting area there. It's going to go down. Then we're going to do another one down lower right here, just a single one in the middle, and then we're going to do boom, boom again. And that's how that pattern's going to go all the way around the plant, or all the way around the planter, to produce your strawberry barrel. And there we are with our holes that are drilled. I tried to level these out as best I can, but it's a little difficult to draw a straight line when you're on a round. Now we're going to be using a wine bottle, but you can use anything you want. You can use a mason jar as well, but the wine bottle neck is actually very good for getting in there to start your hole. So I'm going to be using a wine bottle to start it, and then I'll probably grab a few mason jars to put in there after I actually start the hole so that it can solidify. But we're going to start heating these up here with our heat gun. And this is going to heat up that plastic so that it starts to melt a little bit. And I'm going to put this thing on high. And we're going to get the whole area around it nice and Alright, new plan is abandon the heat gun. We're going to the torch. So, we learned something. Bordeaux bottle, also in a champagne or a Chardonnay glass, too big for 4 inches. So what you're going to want to do is do like 5 or 6 inches for this size bottle. If it's a Pinot Noir bottle, you can do 4 inches. You can get it in there. If you do any bigger than that, if you do a bigger bottle, like a champagne or even a Chardonnay bottle, it isn't going to work. Or Bordeaux's or anything like that. Like, they're just too big. Syrahs, like that type of stuff, they're just a bigger size bottle. So rosé, Pinot Noir, that type of stuff. If you're a wine connoisseur, use those bottles. Don't use these unless you're going to make the hole bigger. So I'm just going to use that size bottle from now on. And I have a few more, I think, in my house that I can empty really quick, that are just have cooking wine in them. Not drink it, not going like, not going hog wild, guys. But I'm going to do that, and we're going to get all these in using that size bottle instead of the bigger ones, since I already committed to the 4-inch spacing for my holes. And there you have it, folks. A complete, minus the couple that are hardening right now, a complete strawberry barrel ready to be planted out. A whole strawberry barrel ready to plant. I don't have the soil just for it just yet. I do have some compost, some horse manure compost over behind me to my right in a pile, but I don't have the other components, my peat moss and coconut coir quite yet. Those should be coming shortly, and I'll probably have to order some more for this specifically, or I'll buy in some bag soil for just this, which is what I do, to be honest, because I have my special mix that I want to mix up, but I want to mix that up specifically for doing peppers, and I'll amend with some nutrients with them, and give a little bit extra compost, and then also some other kind of our sweet potatoes, things like that. I want to plant those out in some grow bags right here in this area. So those so that soil I'm probably going to earmark for that instead of this. So I'm going to get a hold of some bag soil here in the next like couple weeks, and I'm going to be potting up all of my strawberries into this that I have sitting here that are in pots with I think like 3 or 4 strawberries per 1 gallon pot, which is way overplanted. So I need to get those out and into here. Those are starting to produce already, and those are all ever-bearing varieties of strawberries. So we're going to fill this up. It's going to look phenomenal. There might be some empty spaces this year because I don't have as many plants propagated as this is going to hold. This is going to hold about 40 to 60 plants, I believe. And so I might plant some other herbs and stuff in this, whatever's missing. And then on top, I'll probably plant like a tomato or a pepper of some sort. Maybe 2 tiny Tims, to be honest, because that would be perfect for this space. Would 2 tiny Tim tomatoes on top, and then all the strawberries in the bottom would be awesome. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to do that in a different video. So this, you're going to see part 1 now. Look forward to see part 2, which should pop up right over here. Once I get it finished, I'll make sure it pops up there, and you guys will be updated when that happens. But that's how you make the strawberry planter. Like I said, not a expert. I'm a bit of a novice. First one I've ever made of these, but it is a very cheap way to make a strawberry vertical planting barrel, or even an herb barrel, for very cheap. You don't have to spend a lot of money. $300 for a garden tower 2, as much as they look awesome. And I would love to try one out at some point. They're a little expensive for me right now, and so I'm trying to cut costs. And this does that. You can pick up one of these barrels for like $10. You know, very, very cheap, extremely cheap. You do not have to spend a lot of money. And if you go to a regular store, you don't have these available, or even a pickle barrel available in your area, you could always pick one of these up from your local garden store for probably $60 to $70, opposed to paying $170 for a green stock, or $360, $340 for a garden tower 2. So a lot more cost effective. You just need to put in a little bit of elbow grease and have to have a few tools. So if you already have the tools, you already have all that stuff invested in, it might be worthwhile to build one of these and to make that investment in time to get this done. It takes a little bit of time. If you can invest that time, it'll definitely pay dividends, because you're going to be able to plant a lot of things in it at once. But all right, guys, this is me signing off. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, and grow what you love, and love what you grow. I'll see you next time.